Planning an Alaska cruise isn't like booking one in the Caribbean. After 7 Alaska cruises, we've built a complete planning roadmap, and today we're sharing exactly what to do and when to create an unforgettable Alaska cruise. And stick around because we're going to reveal how to avoid one simple mistake that often costs first-time Alaska cruisers thousands to ensure you stay one step ahead of everyone else on board. Welcome aboard. I'm Don B from Eat, Sleep, Cruise, and we suggest you begin investigating your Alaska cruise at least 1 year out. Right now, most cruise lines already have 2027 Alaska cruise season available for booking, and soon 2028 will open up. Now, before you compare ships, before you fall in love with a specific sailing, you need to decide when you're going to go. Alaska has a short cruise season, typically early May through the end of September, and when you go affects essentially everything else. When you decide to cruise impacts the price, the crowds, the weather, and what wildlife you're likely to see. If you cruise in May or September, what is known as the shoulder season, typically find lower prices, sometimes 30% less than peak July sailings. There are fewer ships in port, the restaurants are easier to get into, and excursions are more available. But there is a trade-off. Temperatures are cooler, rain is more common, and some of those more specialized excursions, especially some bear viewing tours or remote flying experiences, may not operate in early May or late in September. Now let's talk about July. July is peak season for a reason. It generally offers the warmest weather, the longest daylight, salmon runs are active, bears are feeding heavily, and whale watching is also near peak. But it's also the most expensive time to cruise, and in ports like Juneau, it's not uncommon to see 5 or 6 large ships docked every single day. So instead of asking what's the best month to cruise to Alaska, ask yourself, are you going to prioritize your budget? Are you prioritizing wildlife? Do you want warmer weather? Or do you prefer fewer crowds? After 7 Alaska cruises across multiple months, here's our honest take. This is your first Alaska cruise and you want a good balance. Early June or late August gives you the best mix of good wildlife activity, decent weather, and slightly more reasonable pricing than peak July and early August. But we have sailed in May and September, and those months can deliver incredible value as long as you're flexible with weather. Now let's talk about that budget for a minute. But we have to be honest, Alaska cruises, they are expensive. When compared to a Caribbean cruise on a similar ship, you're often paying significantly more, sometimes close to double. For a couple, a realistic all-in budget often lands between $5,000 and $10,000. For a family of 4, that can easily reach $15,000 once you factor everything in. And that's not ultra luxury. That's cruise fare, flights, pre-cruise hotel nights, gratuities, travel insurance, and of course, those shore excursions. And we'll share some of our insider secrets after 7 Alaska cruises on how to save the most money on your trip way up north. But one of the biggest shock factors we often find is that shore excursions can sometimes equal your cruise fare. Some of those high demand experiences, like a helicopter glacier landing, well, those often run $500 to $700 plus per person. But now that you're in the planning phase, you need to understand this cost structure so the price of your trip doesn't escalate. You also need to decide if you're going to do a round trip or one-way cruise. This impacts logistics and quite honestly price more than people expect. Round trip cruises typically sail from Seattle or Vancouver and return to the same city. They're simpler, airfare is usually cheaper, and planning is easier. One-way cruises typically sail between Vancouver and either Seward or Whittier, Alaska. The one-way cruise, you get to head further north into Alaska and visit more ports. But they require flying into one city and out of another. They often involve at least a pre-cruise and usually a post-cruise hotel stay and related ground transportation. For first-time cruisers, we typically recommend round-trip cruises unless you're a seasoned traveler. And then there's glacier viewing. Not all glacier experiences are equal. Glacier Bay National Park is often considered the gold standard. You'll typically spend 6 to 8 hours scenic cruising. You'll see multiple glaciers, and national park rangers board the ship to provide live narration and educational context. It's immersive, it's structured, and it feels like an event. But not all cruise lines have permits to enter Glacier Bay. There are other glacier experiences too, and we've been to the Hubbard Glacier, the Dawes Glacier, and the Sawyer Glacier, and they're absolutely stunning. So you really can't go wrong. Just know the differences in glacier viewing expectations before picking an itinerary and ship. Now, if you're already starting to feel a little overwhelmed, believe us, we understand. That's why we want to make you a special offer. We want to send you our completely free Ultimate Cruise Planning Guide, just updated for 2026, that covers everything you need to know. Plus, it includes printable checklists, budget worksheet, and cruise packing guides to help you stay one step ahead of everyone else on board. So scan the QR code on screen or click the link in the description and we'll send you a completely free copy straight to your inbox. Once you've made your big decisions and you're roughly 6 to 12 months from your desired sail date, this is when you choose your cruise line, decide on your cabin type, and you book your sailing. Now that you've decided when you're going and what type of itinerary you want, it's time to choose the cruise line. And here's the truth. There is no single best cruise line for Alaska. The best cruise line depends entirely on who you're traveling with and what kind of experience you want on board. If you're traveling with kids or multiple generations, lines like Norwegian, Royal Caribbean, Carnival, and Disney tend to offer more built-in activities, casual dining, and larger ships with more entertainment options. If you're traveling as a couple or adult group, you might lean toward Princess, Holland America, or Celebrity. These lines often offer a more relaxed atmosphere and tend to focus more heavily on Alaska-specific enrichment programming. And that's something people overlook. In Alaska, onboard enrichment matters more than in the Caribbean. Naturalists, glacier talks, wildlife presentations, Alaska history programming. Some cruise lines lean into this heavily. Others treat Alaska more like just another itinerary. Here's another trap people fall into: assuming the newest ship is automatically the best choice. In Alaska, the destination is the star, not the ship. Some older ships actually offer better itineraries, longer port times, or Glacier Bay access, often at a lower price point. Alaska is not a last-minute deal market. Cruise lines typically release Alaska itineraries up to 2 years in advance, and unlike Caribbean sailings, Alaska demand stays strong. And if you wait too long, you're often left choosing between less desirable cabins or paying more than early bookers did. We recommend booking 6 to 12 months before you're sailing. That gives you the best price protection, the best cabin selection, the most excursion availability, and more time to spread out your payments. Now let's address one of the biggest debates in Alaska cruising. Is a balcony really worth it? Interior cabins are cheaper. Ocean view cabins give you natural light, but balconies often cost several hundred, sometimes over $1,000 more. So is it actually worth it? In Alaska, scenery is constant. You're not cruising for water slides or pool deck parties. You're cruising for glaciers, waterfalls, fjords, wildlife, and mountains that stretch endlessly in every direction. On glacier days, scenic cruising can begin at 6 a.m. With a balcony, you can step outside in your pajamas with a cup of coffee and experience it privately, without fighting for space on crowded public decks. Is it essential? No. Public decks and observation lounges offer incredible views. But if there is one upgrade that consistently enhances the Alaska experience, it's a balcony. For many travelers, this is where the splurge actually pays off. If you want a balcony but want to reduce the cost, consider a guaranteed cabin. Instead of choosing a specific cabin number, you select the category, interior, ocean view, or balcony, and let the cruise line assign your exact room later. Often you can save hundreds of dollars compared to picking a specific cabin location. You're guaranteed at least the category you paid for, and occasionally you may even receive a better location or an upgrade. But there are trade-offs. You could end up forward or aft, where motion is more noticeable. You could be near elevators or high traffic areas. If you're flexible and prioritizing value, it's a strong strategy. If you're sensitive to motion or need specific cabin placement, you may want to pay for the exact room. Now, even after 7 Alaska cruises, we don't book directly with the cruise line. we always use a certified cruise travel advisor. Along with helping you wade through all the itinerary, cruise ship, and other options, a good travel advisor monitors your sailing and can often reprice your booking before final payment if a better promotion becomes available. Plus, it is great to have an independent third party in your corner in case something happens, and a good travel advisor never charges a fee. Now, Heidi and I are not travel advisors. That is why we partner with MEI Travel. We love working with our personal cruise consultant, Blair, who navigates all the options to find the ideal cruise line, ship, and itinerary, while making sure we get the best available price, and we take advantage of any promotions or inclusions. Scan the QR code on the screen right now to get your free, no-obligation quote and start planning your next great adventure. This phase begins the moment you put down your deposit, because this is where the most expensive mistakes happen. As soon as you book your cruise, there is one thing you should handle within the first couple of weeks: travel insurance. Most comprehensive policies, especially those offering cancel for any reason coverage, must be purchased within 7 to 21 days of your initial deposit. If you wait too long, you lose access to some of the strongest protections. And for Alaska, this isn't optional. Weather disruptions in the Pacific Northwest are common. Fog delays in Seattle, Vancouver, and Anchorage happen frequently. If your flight is delayed and you miss your ship, the cruise line will not wait, and they will not refund you. Alaska ports are remote. If you require emergency evacuation, costs can reach tens of thousands of dollars. Most regular health insurance does not cover international emergency transport. Travel insurance can also cover trip interruption, lost luggage, weather delays, missed connections, and emergency medical situations. We strongly recommend comparing third-party policies rather than automatically purchasing the cruise line's insurance. Third-party plans often offer broader coverage and better value. So this step happens right after booking. Do not wait. The next thing you should do immediately after booking is check every passport in your travel party. Even if you're sailing round trip from Seattle and technically don't need one as a US citizen, we strongly recommend bringing a passport. Some shore excursions, like the White Pass and Yukon Route Railway in Skagway, cross into Canada. Without a passport, you cannot participate. If you miss your ship and need to fly to the next port, you may need to enter Canada. If you have a medical emergency and are flown home from Vancouver, you will need a passport. Also, check expiration dates. Most cruise lines require your passport to be valid for at least 6 months after your cruise ends. If anyone in your party needs a renewal, handle it now. This is a simple step that prevents complicated problems later. Once you're about 4 to 6 months from your cruise, this is when planning shifts from big decisions to detailed execution. This is the window when you should finalize and start booking your shore excursions. And here's the first thing to understand. You do not need a premium excursion in every port. After 7 Alaska cruises, we've learned that balance is everything. Alaska shore excursions generally fall into 3 pricing tiers. Budget tier, roughly $100 to $200 per person. Mid-range tier, $200 to $400. Premium tier, $400 to $700 plus per person. Premium experiences include helicopter glacier landings, dog sledding on snowfields, misty fjords, flight seeing. Those are bucket list experiences. But if you book one of those in every port, your excursion total can easily exceed your cruise fare. So here's the strategy we recommend. Choose 1 or 2 true bucket list experiences, the ones that would disappoint you if you miss them, then balance the rest. Ports like Skagway, Ketchikan, and Juneau are extremely walkable. You can explore historic downtowns, sample local seafood, visit museums, walk nature trails, often without spending hundreds of dollars. That mix creates a better rhythm. Now, one more critical piece. Alaska weather is unpredictable. Helicopter and float plane tours are frequently canceled due to fog or wind. So for every weather-dependent excursion, have a plan B. If your flight seeing tour cancels, what are you doing instead? Because the cruise line will refund you, but they won't plan your backup. Now let's talk about where to book. You generally have 3 options: through the cruise line, through a third-party provider, or directly with a local operator. Booking through the cruise line is the most convenient. If your excursion runs late, the ship will wait. But it's also usually the most expensive, often 20 to 40% more than booking independently. Third-party providers often offer the exact same tours at lower prices. The key question becomes, are you comfortable with the risk trade-off? Many reputable third-party operators offer return-to-ship guarantees, but you must research carefully. That's why we love working with Shore Excursions Group. We booked tours with them in several regions, including on our last Alaska cruise, and they're amazing. Their online platform is super easy to navigate. Just put in your cruise line, ship, and sailing dates, and Shore Excursions Group will show you all of the tour options. And you can save up to 40% off cruise line advertised shore excursion prices. And with their return to ship guarantee, you can enjoy your tour knowing the ship will be there when you get back. So scan the QR code on screen or click our exclusive link down in the description and stop overpaying for shore excursions on your next cruise. Just don't wait too long. The most popular tours sell out months in advance, especially in peak season. Most major cruise lines offer bundled packages that combine beverage packages, Wi-Fi, specialty dining, prepaid gratuities, sometimes shore excursion credits. These bundles can offer good value, but only if you actually use what's included. Here's the Alaska-specific reality. You'll likely spend long days in port. You'll have early mornings for glacier viewing. You may not drink as much as you would on a Caribbean cruise. So before automatically upgrading, do the math. How many drinks per day would you realistically consume? Will you need Wi-Fi on board, or will your phone plan work in port? Do you plan to dine in specialty restaurants multiple times? In Alaska, many travelers find that spending money on excursions delivers more value than upgrading every onboard package. But for some travelers, especially those who enjoy cocktails, specialty dining, and constant connectivity, the bundles can absolutely make sense. The key is not assuming. Run the numbers for your travel style. Now fast forward to about 2 to 4 months before your cruise. This is when you finalize flights. We recommend arriving at least one full day before your cruise and booking a pre-cruise hotel night. This eliminates stress, it protects your investment, and it allows you to enjoy Embarkation Day instead of panicking. There's also a bonus. Seattle and Vancouver are incredible cities worth exploring. That pre-cruise day often becomes part of the vacation itself. If there is one simple planning decision that prevents a worst-case scenario, it's this one: arrive early. Let's start with packing, because Alaska packing is where most people either overcompensate or underestimate. The number one rule: layering beats bulk. Alaska weather is dynamic. You can wake up to 38 degrees during glacier viewing, warm into the 60s in port, and then cool off again once the wind picks up on deck. If you bring one heavy winter coat, you'll either overheat or freeze. Instead, build a flexible system. Lightweight base layer, mid-layer fleece or sweater, packable insulated jacket, waterproof outer shell. That waterproof layer matters more than almost anything else. It will rain at some point, maybe not all day, maybe just a passing shower. But rain gear is non-negotiable. Bring waterproof jacket with hood, waterproof walking shoes, optional lightweight waterproof pants for active excursions. Now let's talk about what not to pack. You do not need a parka, you do not need heavy snow boots, you do not need Arctic gloves unless you're doing a very specific excursion. Ships are warm inside. Dining rooms are comfortable. You'll still want regular cruise attire for evenings. Pack versatile pieces that mix and match. Now let's talk about a few Alaska-specific items people forget. Sunscreen. Glaciers reflect UV. Long daylight hours mean prolonged exposure. Polarized sunglasses. They cut glare off water and ice and make wildlife spotting easier. Binoculars. Wildlife sightings happen fast. Even a modest pair makes a huge difference. A day backpack. You'll constantly be adding and removing layers in port. And yes, bring your bathing suit. Hot tubs with snow-capped mountains in the background. That's peak Alaska. Now let me give you 2 cabin organization tips that dramatically improve comfort. Magnetic hooks. Cabin walls are metal. Use them to hang wet jackets, backpacks, and hats so they dry properly instead of piling up. Over-the-door organizer, not for shoes. Use it for sunscreen, chargers, gloves, sunglasses, medications. It keeps your limited counter space usable. And here's one more small tip people don't talk about. Bring clothespins or binder clips. In June and July, daylight can stretch until nearly 10 or 11 p.m. If your curtains don't close tightly, that midnight sun can creep in. Packing for Alaska isn't about extreme cold. It's about preparing for variability comfortably. Now let's talk about the final week before sailing. About 7 days out, slow down and double check everything. Make sure everyone in your travel party has completed online check-in. Verify boarding times. Confirm hotel reservations. Recheck flight times for schedule changes. Then prepare your travel documents, passport, travel insurance policy, excursion confirmations, hotel confirmations. Keep physical copies in a folder and digital copies on your phone. Now let's talk about your carry-on. Your checked luggage may not arrive at your cabin until late afternoon. So in your carry-on, pack medications, travel documents, phone charger, a light layer, sunglasses, and possibly your swimsuit if you want to hit the hot tubs early. All that planning and preparation has finally paid off. It's cruise embarkation day. But still, there are a few key things you need to keep in mind. On embarkation day, arrive during your assigned window, not hours early. Showing up too early doesn't get you on board faster. Drop your luggage with porters outside the terminal and tip appropriately. Keep passports and essential items with you at all times. Once on board, complete the muster drill immediately. Don't push it off. The ship cannot sail until everyone completes it, and you don't want that hanging over your first afternoon. Then take a breath, grab lunch, and here's a pro tip. Skip the main buffet if it's packed. Many ships have quieter venues open that first afternoon. Walk the ship. Check out viewing decks. Review the daily program. Confirm excursion meeting locations. And most importantly, adjust your mindset. Alaska cruises are different. Early mornings, long days, scenic moments that happen quietly and unexpectedly. Pace yourself. Build and rest. And don't feel like you need to do everything on day one. You have the rest of the trip to get it all in. And to ensure you make the most of your Alaska cruise, click or tap on our Ultimate Alaska Cruise Tips and Tricks video right here on YouTube. In that video, we share the insider secrets that most Alaska cruisers don't know. That way you'll be one step ahead of everyone else on board, and your Alaska cruise will be smooth sailing.